53. From Judgment to Grace. As predictably as night follows day, Henny exploited my departure from Oudtshoorn to unleash a vicious campaign of vilification. The memories of his past betrayals still seared my soul, and even my familiarity with his toxic behavior couldn't prepare me for the ferocity and speed of his venomous attack. That evening, as I sat in the quiet comfort of my friend's living room, with her dogs lying calmly at my feet, I received a WhatsApp message from Gurik that eviscerated my heart. The words, "I curse your womb," cut through me like a knife, severing the last threads of our fragile bond. The finality of it was palpable, a crushing blow that left me breathless and reeling. As I read the words, my mind was stunned into shock. Instantly, I felt like I'd been flayed alive, my emotions laid bare and ravaged. A wave of desolation washed over me, mingling with a deep sense of devastation. The wretchedness was almost unbearable. My reaction was instinctive. I pressed the back button and turned my phone upside down, desperate to escape the toxic words. I looked up at my friend, my heart heavy with emotion, and whimpered, "I've just received a message from Gurik that I fear will destroy me if I read it. Please take my phone. You're welcome to read it, but don't share the contents with me. Then please forward it to Christy. Maybe later I'll be ready to face it." As I sat there, struggling to comprehend the depths of Gurik's abhorrence, I realized that Henny must have exploited my darkest moment, the agonizing decision to let Missy go. It dawned on me that he had seized upon this vulnerable moment, manipulating Gurik with twisted lies that portrayed me as a murderer, devoid of compassion or heart. The memories of my strained telephone conversation with Gurik in Oudtshoorn came flooding back. I had informed him of my decision to send Grace to live with Marianne, and although he had been unable to find a suitable home for her in Franschhoek, he was furious with me. The tension between us had been palpable, a living, breathing thing that pulsed with anger and resentment. Henny's manipulation had finally paid off. Gurik had turned against me. The irony was bitter. The child Henny had never bothered to understand or care for was now being used to hurt me. A surge of anger and helplessness welled up inside me, leaving me feeling utterly defenseless and vulnerable. As I sat there, trying to make sense of the chaos that had erupted in my life, I couldn't help but wonder, what is this? What is happening to me? Am I being forged in the fire, tempered by the trials and emerging stronger? Or am I being consumed by the flames? The next morning, as I drove to my new flat, the soft golden light of late spring spilling across the landscape, I felt a sense of trepidation. Here I was, on the cusp of a brand new life, and yet I was all alone again, just as I had entered this world. I had to sever the ties of toxicity, and in the process, pieces of my heart were pulverized to powder. As I walked through the empty rooms of my new flat, The silence echoing off the walls, I felt a sense of disconnection. I was starting anew, but the wounds of the past still lingered. I knew that I had to find a way to heal, to move forward, but the pain was still too raw. Lying in bed that night, enveloped in the blackness that surrounded me, I couldn't help but think of Henny's triumphant smile. I imagined him gloating and feeling victorious in knowing that he had finally hurt me in the place where I would suffer the most. My 2 children. But as I lay there, trying to make sense of the chaos that had erupted in my life, I knew that I couldn't let Henny win. I couldn't let his toxicity consume me. I had to find a way to rise above, to transform my pain into something beautiful. And then, in the hushed silence, I heard a gentle whisper. Divinity spoke softly, inscribing with a feather on the tablet of my heart. Alyushika, today you are moving from judgment to grace.